So, where are you from, Pamela?
California.
And what brings you to Atlanta?
Life. I'm just playing. My parents came here.
How
Yes, I
long
have
ago?
parents. I have a dad. I'm just wild. Hi, dad. Hi, parents. Don't blame them. They raised me well.
How long ago did you come from California, and where in California did you come from?
I'm from San Diego, and I've been in Atlanta for most of my life.
Okay. Around what age?
I can't remember. Like late 90s.
Okay. And how'd you grow up?
I grew up, I guess, normal.
Yeah. What was your childhood like?
Normal to me.
What was your childhood like?
Gangster. Let's see. I don't know how to describe it. It was cool. I had a cool childhood.
Did you experience any traumatic events during your childhood?
Niggas, boyfriends.
What about any sexual assault?
No.
At what age did you start to feel like you were different from other people?
I don't even know how to answer that.
Why not?
That's
What age did you start to come into your own? You started to be Pamela. You started to not care about what people think.
I don't think anyone should be born caring what people think.
Yeah, but we all do.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever been that person. I don't ever remember being that girl that really care what people think.
What kind of kid were you?
Mean. I really was, though. I was a bully. I've always been a mean girl.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think I'm just aggressive. It's just part of my personality.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
I have 10 brothers and sisters.
Where do you fall in that?
I'm the third oldest.
How many brothers, how many sisters?
I forget off the top of my head. I'll have to count them off immediately.
Same parents?
Oh, my bad.
Same parents?
No. My dad has a lot of baby mamas.
And what's your relationship with your parents?
I love my parents.
How do they feel about you?
I really don't know. I think my dad's proud of me. My mom is crazy, so I don't know.
Gotcha. Were you religious growing up?
No. I was an atheist up until my adulthood. I was an emo sad girl.
And what are you now?
Emo sad girl at heart, glam girl on the outside.
And where'd you get that influence from?
Myself.
Most kids don't know what atheism is. Where'd you learn that term and how'd you discover that?
I've always read a lot of books. I taught myself how to read as a child.
And what were your favorite books as a child?
Dr. Seuss.
What are your favorite books now?
Right Use of Will. And I haven't finished the series yet. But if anybody out there can get their hands on the books, they're pretty rare. They're not out there for everybody. I'm just playing. You can go on Amazon, but they're good books. They're about basically like a collective theory of theology, in my perspective, to break it down. So it's basically like how everything came to be about religion and spirituality and all kinds of stuff. I like to explore different theological perspectives.
And how did all this come to be? What's something you can give us from the book?
The book starts about the creation of God, like awakening to the fact that he has a feminine essence. Since this is about gender roles, I love that book because it really breaks down the traditional view of gender roles too. So it's about God himself or herself or however people describe it. The essence of God, the energy force awakening to itself and realizing that it awoken because something sexually basically aroused it. God got horny, so to speak, and started to want to create. The creative part of himself was the feminine energy, but he didn't understand that at the time. So the book goes through the basically perspective of God coming into himself and understanding who he is outside of his creation, outside of his relationships to the different aspects of himself. Because he's throughout the series realizing that everything that he's almost battling with is literally just a fragment of himself that he's denied or didn't shine light on or traumatized in some type of way or neglected. And now those things are baggage upon his soul and is weighing him down. And he in turn starts to war in heaven, la 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 la. It goes into like different biblical perspectives. If you ever read the book Urantia,
I've never read it, no.
it's kind of similar in a sense, but it goes more of along a storyline where Urantia tries to be more like a, like encyclopedia almost.
Gotcha.
It goes more, it's more like almost they wrote it like an autobiography from God.
Right. So as a current atheist, how...
I'm not an atheist now.
You're not an atheist now?
I said I was an atheist up until adulthood.
Got you. Corrected. And so what is your relationship with God now?
I love the Lord. Jesus Christ is my homie.
Right. And what made you change your perspective?
Jesus Christ.
In what way?
Like literally him. Like I don't think people understand that the spiritual world is like actually there. So when I was an atheist, I already understood spirits and like the fact that they're actually there, always present, omnipresent. I did not understand that Jesus, the title, actually has an essence behind it that moves outside of the framework that the title has placed on him in our society and mind. So I understood Jesus from the title of, let's just say, the fraud. Because if somebody just takes your name and do something in your name, may necessarily agree with it or authorize it, is considered what? Fraud.
Right.
So I feel like a lot of people fraud in the name of Jesus at this point, and the church, Christians, Muslims, everybody, a lot of people don't understand Jesus. So I got, as a young person, it was easy to turn away from this perspective of Jesus because the Jesus I was taught is not who he is.
Gotcha.
So it was easy to be like, oh, like it's easy to just be like, oh, I'm woke, I'm conscious, I don't believe in that, I read books, all that other shit. It's very easy to be cerebral about spirituality, but that's a disconnect. Right. Spirituality is literally as above, so below, as within, so without. So you can't just be cerebral about it. There has to be a soul placed there too. So I realized through a lot of trials and errors in life that sometimes you get to a point where you got nothing else. You don't got nowhere else to go. You don't got nobody else. And you really fucked. And there's an entity, with however people want to describe it, out there that's only love and will always be love. And that entity that I know as Jesus Christ reached out to me and saved my life when I was at the darkest part of my life. And because of that, I stand firm on believing in God and Jesus, because once again, I was an atheist. I had no understanding of Jesus, God. I was not taught. I was not raised in a church. I did not go to church on Sundays. None of those things growing up. My mom still does not go to church or anything like that. She like talks about God and Jesus, but she doesn't really like put an emphasis on religion. So I didn't grow up with that. So it's easy, like I said, to not be a part of it or even really care. So, but I feel like God has a plan. That's how I understand God and Jesus now, because he didn't want me to have that religious indoctrination that people have. Because most people are under a religious cloak and a falsehood, and all they know is scammer Jesus. My boy like, nah, I want you to know the real me.
That's weird.
So he like, nah, they know scammer Jesus. So them and scammer Jesus. I don't know scammer Jesus, Sky Daddy Jesus. I know the Lord Jesus Christ, that is, in the good Holy Spirit, got Holy Spirit activate, and he with God, all that good stuff. Okay, so
all right.
More about Jesus? I can talk about Jesus all day.
Yeah, I mean, we could finish.
Because
talking
I'll
about
save all their souls out there in these streets.
this.
Because we can go to the story of how I got to Jesus.
Yeah. Tell me, how'd you get to Jesus?
I was in
what
jail.
point of your life?
For human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Since you want to talk about sex working. That's where the pimp comes from.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk about that because, there's no statutory on that. So
Gotcha.
allegedly, I was arrested, which that's a fact. I was arrested for human trafficking. What year was that, Karen?
2016, 2015.
2000, was it 15 or 16? I can't remember. It was like January 22nd, I think, 2015. I was young. That was years, that was years ago.
It had to be like 15.
I think I was like 24, 25.
Zaire was a baby.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
a toddler.
Oh, it was like 7, 8 years because the baby was just a little baby.
Yeah, so that he was like
Oh, shit.
5. Because he was like, he understood.
Anyway, sometimes when I was old,
In 2015, I was like,
sometime when I was younger, in my younger years, I used to be living a street life, but I mostly sold drugs, weed, allegedly. As a teenager, I sold drugs in certain spaces, but you get out there selling drugs, stuff like that. You meet all type of people. You meet people of different life walks, whatever. I had a boyfriend that allegedly sold drugs, but different drugs like hardcore narcotics. So, long story short, we was running around doing all kinds of stuff, living life, making money, and FBI arrested us. This is Googleable, so y'all can Google the rest of the fucking facts. You can Google that shit. Human trafficking, motherfuckers. Okay, anyways.
How long did you serve?
Thank God. Literally, but this is where I mean, like, God really saved my life. They wouldn't let me bond out. My bond was $110,000, and they wanted cash or property only. They wouldn't let me. Bonding company would not touch that shit. They like, yo, this bitch gonna run. Like, she literally got a life sentence. You're like, they're not gonna. So they was like, my dad bonded me out. Shouts to dads. My dad bonded me out, and like 10 months later, they let me bond out. I stayed going to court for that for like 2.5 years before finally God literally released me from that. But long story short, in the midst of that going on, I, basically was planning to go to jail for the rest of my life because they caught me red-handed, allegedly. And they offered me like 50 years to 25. And I was only like 23 years old. That's where the term pimp come from, because in the jail they called me the madam. I was the only girl there that had human trafficking or any of those type of charges. Most girls go to jail for shoplifting, fighting, little stuff like having drugs for a guy. So it was like, yo, like bitch, what the fuck was you out there doing? So they used to like make all type of rumors, say I like sold babies, all type of shit. That shit used to be funny, but while I was there, I've always been a reader. Like I said, that's been something I've always done. So while I was there, I just read books. I ended up getting to a part of the jail where the only books you could have was religious books. So it was kind of like, oh, like, one of y'all bitches give me a book. Like, so a friend of mine gave me a Quran. I read the Quran front to back. Like I said, I'm into theology, always have been. I've been Hindu, Buddhist. I've studied 5%ers. I study more science and principles. Like, I've studied almost any type of belief systems out there that's borderline relatively normal. I don't be with all the extra shit. But if it's a borderline relatively normal general belief system, Catholicism, Muslim, Islam, whatever, the Torah, I've read it, like all that stuff. I just read. So I read the Bible and stuff like that with just a reading. Like, oh, I'm just reading this because there's nothing else to do in jail. It's like read or play cards, and I don't really associate with other women. Well, like I said, I've always been a mean girl, but that makes me a good madam and a good businesswoman. So I don't give a fuck. But I was just reading to myself, and then one day I was having a nervous breakdown because I realized, I knew it. Like, oh, I'm going to prison for a long, long time. Because they think I'm a horrible ass person. I'm not really a horrible person. And I was just really mad because what they was like saying I didn't do. It's like, how like you're caught, but then somebody sauced that shit up. And you're like, I did fuck up, but I ain't do all of that shit. Like, y'all got me fucked up. Like, they basically like padded that shit really good. Cause you know, human trafficking is, like I said, that's how I said that's a big thing in Atlanta. They literally said that at my hearing. That's why they didn't give me a bond. The first round, they didn't give me a bond because the judge literally said human trafficking is a big thing in Atlanta in the United States. This is a hot spot, so we have to set an example. So I already knew they was gonna try to set an example out of me because it was a high profile case. Got all over Fox 5 News, the FBI was involved, like all type of shit. So they locked up like 22 people in the fucking FBI sting. Like a couple other girls I knew, some shit like that. But that was the thing. It was kind of like, oh, well then if you're not a prostitute, then what are you? And the girl that was with me, that was the prostitute, she snitched on me. Because those hoes got no loyalty. That's why I don't give a fuck. I'm not no dirty ass prostitute, bitch. Dumb hoes don't know no loyalty. That's why they jump from pimp to pimp. That's why they running around getting stupid. We literally saved the bitch from getting her ass beat. Right or wrong, Karen? She was getting her ass dog the fuck walk, beat up, dirty, no clothes. And at the time, I was selling weed. She needed help. We helped the bitch. The bitch get caught in a fucking sting and lie to get out of the sting instead of just going to jail for prostitution, which is a misdemeanor in fucking Georgia. I'm nice enough, big enough heart, I would have bonded the bitch out of jail.
Right.
Simple. Why are you gonna lie and tell these folks that you is motherfucking 16 and all this other shit?
Was she 16?
No. They never found her again, thank God, because that's how the case ended up getting dropped. They had no witness. I took it all the way to trial. Once my lawyer told me, like, oh, they can't find her, she will not show up, and she has prior outstanding prostitution in other counties, like, oh, it just makes for your case. Like, she could point at you all day like, oh, you a pimp, you did this and this to her, but she has to literally sit on that stand and say, I did it against her will for it to be human trafficking. That's the big difference.
Now, if you were the pimp, what role was your boyfriend?
My boyfriend, unfortunately, is just stupid. He was just around. He's a drug dealer. That's why she laughing, cause he cause that shit is such a stereotype. Why the pimp gotta be a nigga?
Right.
Why brains operation gotta be a nigga? But anyways, I'm not the brains of any operation. Thank you, allegedly. Only thing I operate is businesses. In the name of Jesus, thank you. But
So how long did you end up serving?
That's what I'm telling you. Like,
Before the
okay,
case
I ended
got
up getting out. It was on fucking trial. Court takes a long time. So by the time it came down to, they're basically like, oh, this is wasting the taxpayers' dollars, and we're not gonna spend no more money trying to track the girl down. Because, it costs money. They gotta send the marshals out to, like, trying to hunt her down. And they're like, oh, basically, so they cut me a deal. They end up dropping it to pimping and cruelty to children, first degree. So I signed for that, and I took 5 years. And I took first offenders so that I didn't have to sign up as a registered sex offender. And so I'd be able to go around my nephews and small children, because I don't even have children. Like, how the fuck y'all gonna tell me I can't be around kids? I only got kids.
Right.
I ain't did nothing to nobody goddamn kids.
So what was the toughest part of that 5 years?
Not being mad at the bitch. Like, really understanding, like, not like having no like revenge, because of it's a court case, discovery packs, because it went all the way to trial. They gave me her real name, auntie address, the whatever information they had, I got to have. So not being vengeful about it. A lot of people be like, how the fuck, like, I never cared to look her up, I never tried to find her, nothing. But that's when I realized that that voice, that thing that interrupted me, that stopped me, that Jesus was actually working on who I was. Because I would have had that bitch deaded. Like, bitch, you whole put me in jail for human trafficking, whole try to take my life because you just stupid ass bitch that don't want to take responsibility, accountability for what you're doing as an adult. Like, you out here selling your ass because you want to. Nobody making you, nobody sign you up for that shit. I don't like that shit because then the burden falls back on other people every time a bitch want to lay down and sell her ass. It's like, oh, no, you want to lay down and sell your ass, so other people got to go to jail for that shit. You want to run around, act like, everybody act like hoes are victims to something. Oh, they're victims to sexual trauma. They're victims to this. They're victims to that. They're victims. But at the end of the day, they're adults who make choices. Because at the end of the day, we all have some type of trauma, whether we reveal it or not. We all are adults and we all have access to therapy, counseling, and other things. Same way you got access to cocaine and selling your ass, you got access to a fucking therapist too, bitch. They make them for free. blackgirltherapist.com. They got all type of motherfucking therapy and everything. You could go get help for your abortion, sexual assaults, all type of shit that happened to you. Or you could keep using that as an excuse to self-fucking sabotage yourself and then try to drag other people down. That's why I don't give a fuck about dirty ass prostitute bitches, because half the time they're not taking accountability for their own soul work themselves. They're running away from that shit, faking like they chasing a bag, faking like they this, that, and that, and a third. And then at the end of the day, when something crumble or something go wrong, they gonna point their hand at the pimp, the nigga, the this, the that, society, their boyfriend who raped them, their mom who let the stepdad touch them, da-da-da-da-da. And at the end of the day, guess what? Half those people don't give a fuck. Never gonna give a fuck, never gonna give you an apology, never gonna tell you, oh, they're sorry. You just can keep letting that shit damage your fucking life, or you could fucking heal and move on. And guess what Jesus Christ offers? Healing of your heart.
How did you deal with your trauma?
Jesus Christ.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
What did that practice look like?
Jesus brings people. One time I was in jail. After that, because I'm hard-headed, after the human trafficking, because it was like, oh, dodge that bullet. Oh, thank you, Jesus. You really out there. You told me you was gonna dodge that. I was gonna dodge that bullet. You really did it. That was a real miracle. Like, that was a real miracle. How it even happened was miraculous. Even the fucking judge said, I don't know who love you or who prays for you. He's like, but you better hope they never stop. He said, because if I see you again, Miss Holly, I'm frying you. They was tired of me. I went to jail a lot of times prior to the human trafficking, so they already knew me in the streets. But it was like, oh, you basically, they seen it as, oh, you upgraded. You went from selling drugs, little petty drug dealer with your little boyfriend, to, oh, now you fucking human trafficking. So that's how they try to like kick it, to pad the shit. When it was never that. It was literally like, oh, this nigga kind of let me do whatever because he got big heart too. I always trying to feel like, oh, help people on the low, but I'm still a mean person. So it's just like, oh, I'll help you help yourself, bitch, if that's what you're doing. If y'all hoes out here being stupid, drugged out, wanna fucking sell ass, it's like, oh, I'm out here anyway. This nigga out here, like, we're chilling, kicking shit, doing us.
Yeah.
The whole time, me and her had a whole promo team doing club night events. During all of this going on, I literally went to jail with a whole business. But they're looking at me like, oh, you a pimp? And I'm like, what? To this bitch? No, the fuck I'm not. If anybody out pimp my goddamn stuff, this is not even quality product.
Right. Now, what did you want to be growing up?
Archaeologist.
When did you realize that you weren't going to be an archaeologist?
When I realized they was stealing niggas. Dead niggas at that. They been stealing niggas forever.
Talk to me about that. I'm not sure what you mean.
They would go dig up dead niggas, dead famous niggas, steal them for money, and sell them as artifacts and art, and put them in their museums in Britain and Switzerland. And I realized I didn't want to be a part of excavations, aka stealing dead niggas.
Oh, wow.
That's how I see it, because that's not y'all's property. Just like, totally does not belong to you to be making money off of. It's a whole industry of artifacts and Scientologists and all this other stuff. They're literally stealing other people's shit, because those people have family. Mm-hmm. If right now somebody died in America, y'all gonna try to track down their next of kin. And y'all gonna go all the way down to y'all can't find no next of kin, right or wrong. To give them their property, their living will, or whatever.
Or collect.
How the fuck these people die with millions of dollars in gold and y'all just think y'all could go steal it? Where is they peoples? Where is the next of kin, a King Tut?
Did.
Cause y'all all took his body and got, you'd be parading that shit around every couple of years. I'm not with that. I realized I was not okay with that.
And
By
what
the
do
time
you
I
know?
became a teenager, I realized I wasn't okay with that.
What about now? What do you know? What do you describe your career as right now?
I do marketing full time. Special emphasis on digital marketing.
And how'd you get into that field?
I went to college.
Where?
I went to AIU in Dunwoody, right here, local in Atlanta.
Have you ever worked a 9 to 5? Mm-hmm. Where?
He's currently working at 9 to 5 hours right now.
I work every day, all day. I literally work every day at an office that's owned by my father. I slave there at a coffee shop that's owned by my dad. And I own my own business. I have a couple of marketing clients, about 10 regular clients. I do events, naked sipping paints, bachelorette parties, private events. You know, I curate events and I sell these allegedly sometimes.
And what is that?
Actually, they're giveaways. I give these to people.
What is that you're showing?
It's called Manifest Juice, and allegedly it could make you feel good.
Have you ever been in love?
Yeah, I was in an 11-year relationship with the dumb guy.
I'm assuming that ended when you guys went to jail?
Feel like the third time. You said what? What you say, Karen?
3 strikes, you're out.
3 strikes, you're out, rule. Well, nah, we wanted different things. He's into like polygamy and all that shit, and I'm not into that. So we realized even I realized he wasn't gonna flex on that, and I'm not gonna flex on monogamy. So there was no point of us being together.
So do you want kids? Do you want to get married?
I do want kids, but I do want to be married.
How old are you now?
30.
What age do you want kids?
Why you say it like that? I'm not old. When? What age? I'll get up and fight you. It was the throw the hands up for me. What age? Like when? What? Why men act like I'm too old?
No,
when? What age?
You're obviously not too old.
When? What age? Like my dude.
We have examples of people having kids in their 40s. So.
But don't do me. Why everybody keep shooting straight to the 40s? Like, dang, why I can't have kids at 32? Like, why niggas keep shooting to 40? I got into an argument with a guy because he literally told me that I was unrealistic for basically being 30 and not married and having kids already. He's like, you're not like trying to do that shit today. Like, you're getting too old. I'm like, no, the fuck I'm not.
Was it because he was seeking you?
I don't know. But he got blocked, deleted, and yeah, because I ain't with all that shit. Don't come on my phone trying to be my father. I have a father.
What would you say is the most interesting thing about you?
I don't know. I don't think I'm interested.
You don't think you're interesting?
No. What the fuck? I'm just like cooling. I'm a vibe. I just be like chilling and shit. Huh?
Why you hate?
Cause I'm scared.
What are you scared of?
The way you asking the questions.
Oh, do I sound like the police?
No, not the police. You sound like the nigga off Scream. Like a scary movie. Like, why you asking the questions, Clarice? Like, god damn it. This is just getting intense. It's already hot in here. Bitch is hot. I'm scared. If I could get kidnapped at any moment. See, wait for us to let our guard down.
What's the nicest thing somebody's ever done for you?
Fuck. That's a lame question. I don't know. I don't think people do nice things for me because I'm not nice. Next question.
Okay.
This is my interview now. Next question.
Through all your trials and tribulations and different career paths. What's one thing that you've learned about men?
Oh, they can't do business with attractive women. They just cannot.
Why is that?
They can't accept. It's like I don't think, and I don't even blame men. I feel like naturally they cannot separate the fact that men are visual people. So it's like if they think you're attractive, they can't separate that. It's like, oh, unless they're already like completely like committed and happy in their commitment and not looking to be doing all the extra shit, most of them can't separate the fact that if they find you attractive to be like it goes from, oh, I find you attractive to, no, I fantasize about us being a power couple. Now I'm being weird to you. And it's like, wait, why are you being weird to me? Well, I thought we was just doing business. And it's like, would you do a man like that? And it's like, no, maybe I would, because these days it's weird, but I don't know. I feel like I can't do business with men. I even talk about this with my father. I asked him, like, do he feel like it's, and that was his explanation. He was like, you're an attractive female. And he's like, you're going to be attractive to most men of a wide variety too. He's like, because the look you have. He's like, he's like, you're going to attract white men and this man and that man. He's like, and men, he like, don't really, he's like, how he going to turn off the fact that he thinks you're attractive. And I didn't think about that.
What kind of men are you attracted to?
I like black men.
Any particular personality type?
I like men that are nice. I'm tired of mean men. I've had a lot of mean men in my life.
What is that something you were attracted to at a young age?
No, I think that's something I attracted because that's who I was at a young age. But I like gentle men now. I like soft men. Not soft as in like too much feminine energy, but I mean like men that can be vulnerable and like extra nice. Some men think it's cool to be mean to you. Like they think that's masculine, but they're really just broken. So I guess I like men who are actually secure in their masculinity, so they can actually be nice to you. Mm-hmm. They're actually gonna compliment you. They actually like women.
Right.
I realized that maybe I was fucking with a lot of men who didn't really like women particularly. They just wanted to be with attractive people.
How did you realize that?
Differences in the sex. Some men, it's like, oh, you don't like women. You just are okay with fucking a hoe. You just want to fuck something. And it's like women is what's acceptable for you to fuck. But you don't really like women because you don't be really present or into it. Like some niggas just, it's like a fuck. It's like a fucking thing. And you could tell, it's like, oh, you do that with any female. Like you're not really into, and they'll just act like, oh, they not affectionate. It's like, how are you as a man not affectionate with a woman? I've realized that men who say they're not affectionate, something's broken in them. They've dealt with some type of trauma, whether it be, oh, their affection was pushed away as a child from their mother figure, because black women can be very harsh on their sons, very harsh on their sons, and then turn around and want their sons to be good to women. How the fuck?
Right.
Like the little boy try to hug you, you telling him move, all this other shit all the time. And then now he don't even attempt to hug women. Cause that's his frame of, oh, if I try to hug women, they usually push me away or treat me with disdain. Or then you see those type of men that go for that type of woman.
How did you discover your sexual awareness?
Being sexual, I guess.
Yeah, how?
What do you mean by sexual awareness?
Well, you seem very aware, especially about your partners and if they're present or not, which would assume
that's
you
energy
are.
training. Like, I understand, like, I just understand the book. Once again, the books like that. I understand from theological reading, sex is always mentioned in every spirituality and religion. It's never left out. That's why I'm like, I don't know why people act like, oh, Jesus just looks at sex like, oh no. But because it's like, that's not true. Mm-hmm. Sex is mentioned everywhere throughout almost all spiritual beliefs. They just have different parameters that they put around sex, but it's mentioned. And so just those framings underline like things like when I read, I kind of put it all together in a sense over time. So it's kind of like something like basically like planted a seed about the spiritual essence of sex, and then it's like throughout the years that seed's just been watered through different readings and stuff. So it's like I just understand sex is literally a spiritual exchange of energy. So once you have an understanding of something, you become aware to it. Once you become aware to it, you can kind of
exercise it.
Yeah, and know when it's there or not. You kind of put it into action. So it's kind of like, oh, if I know that sex is about energy and this person, I have sex with this person, it's just kind of like hypothesis. So it's kind of like, oh, sex is about energy. It's like, does that person really make me feel depressed? Or do I already feel like that? Or what is that? You feel me? So it's kind of like, I'll have sex with that person, but afterward, I'll already be asking myself those type of questions. Like, how do you feel? Like, was that person present? Was you present? Like, what did you feel during the sex? Like, fuck what your body physically felt. Like, what did your core self feel? Like, did you feel happy? Did you feel relieved? Like, what does this person put into you? Like, after you had sex with them, what did you feel? Like, before you had sex with them, what did you feel? Because I realized, like, oh, some people, before you had sex with them, you was good. You was happy. You was having great days. You was productive. You was waking up earlier. You was drinking more water. Then after sex with them, you don't want to wake up the next day. You drowsy, tired. You drained. You don't feel yourself. It was like, oh, you picked up all that energy. And then so just years of just understanding that, it got to the point where it's like, if I have a partner and he starts sleeping with somebody else, I'm gonna know. I'm gonna know because I'm gonna feel the difference in the energy. Like, oh, you picked up on whoever energy and you're going to deposit it into me, whether you want to or not, because now that energy is inside of you, and energy is not created nor destroyed, just transferred. So it's like you're gonna that entity, that energy, that spirit, or whatever the fuck people want to, however people want to label these things, are all the same. Spirits, entities, energies, emotions, fucking whatever the fuck you want to call it, particles, quantum physics, whatever the fuck people want to label it, it's there. So if it's bad and it is in you and you put it into me and then I go sleep with you, it's going to go into you. It's possession, so it's because it's spiritual. So I just understand sex from a spiritual person, but it makes sex suck though. It's not always a good thing because like a long period of time now, even longer. At first it would just be like spurts where, oh, I know better than to just have sex with certain people, but I would still go do it because I remember one time I knew I shouldn't have even had sex with this guy. And I was going to go hang out with a homegirl, and I went and had sex with him, and then went with the homegirl, literally threw up everywhere. And she's like, "Are you okay? Like, you was not sick earlier." I was like, "I was not." And she was just like, "You cannot fuck him again." She's like, "I would never." And she was a person that was aware and understood too. And I literally was like, I knew better. Like, I literally threw up everywhere. Could not even make it through the night with her. Like, got completely to my stomach sick. And it's like, that's not good. You have that type of reaction after having sex with somebody, that could go either ways. They could either be like cleansing your soul, or it could be like really making you fucking sick. And if you get a spiritual ailment, it comes out of your body in some type of physical way. So It's like, oh, why am I throwing up? I was just okay. Like, literally, we didn't even get to get drunk. I didn't even get to drink.
How do you heal from that?
You cleanse your body. That's what now I just detox from sex. Like, some people do all that weird yoni steaming and all that stuff. I don't agree with that. A lot of things are intentional. You literally just put the intent to just rid yourself of that fucking energy. Sometimes it's literally that easy. Like, I just don't want this shit. I wear this to protect me at all times from bad vibes. To protect me at all times from bad vibes. haters and shit. Just certain things, crystals. People put crystals in their fucking yoni, all type of shit. But avoidance is the best way with almost any type of illness, spiritual illness, physical illness. Avoidance.
Right.
Keep your vibration high, because some people literally come after you because you got a good high vibration. They see you and on a physical, we take it as, oh, that person see you doing good, they coming for you. But it's like, that's not always good. Like, somebody see you doing good, see you shining, see you bright, see you living, coming for you is not always a good thing, because they might be coming to just suck that energy out. So it's like a lot of men, because they're not present with themselves and vulnerable, fucking them is like fucking a wall or a hole. You might as well fuck a toy. It's not giving you anything. It ain't depositing nothing. You feel me? Some of them are like fucking a void, because it's like the nigga basically just trying to keep it physical. He already holding back in himself spiritually, because he not even trying to be connected to himself on that level, be trying to do all of that. But then he holding back on the physical with you, because he not trying to be connected with you. He not trying to be all in his feelings, or he don't want no ties to you. So he already holding back. So then it's like all of that denial energy creates spaces of like voids in people, where you leave the sex feeling empty.
How do you feel if you have sex with a man and he doesn't ejaculate?
Depends. He could be preserving.
Oh, sorry. It's just a natural reaction.
All right, let's ask that again. How do you feel if you have sex with a man and he doesn't ejaculate?
It depends. It depends on why he didn't ejaculate. If he's like doing semen retention, that's understandable. My ex was into all that kind of stuff, so he would do some stupid shit like that and try to get me to be. That's how even I know what it is prior to now, because he was young when he first went to jail, and he came out of jail in like 2010, 5%er. I don't know if you know what that is.
Please tell us.
It's like Nation of God and Earth. It was like the first little woke group with like the Moors and like the Islam and all that stuff. And you know, they got Clarence 13X and you know, like Malcolm X and all those good people, all that good fruit of Islam kind of branched into 5%ers. Clarence 13X broke off and basically took his own theology and doctrine from the teachings of the fruit of the Nation of Islam, and basically kind of mixed it with numerology and angel numbers, and created supreme mathematics and 5%ers. And basically it's like, oh, the whole principle of it is 5% of the population is woke or conscious to what's going on between the white man and the black man and divinity. You know, that's that whole black man is God.
Is
Black
that something
woman
that you
is
believe?
God. I shaped the understanding from that there's a divine difference between black people, certain ones though, we don't get me canceled. Don't get me canceled, because they love to cancel some motherfuckers out here. But I'm gonna keep it real. There's certain black people, not all people of color. There's certain black people that have divinity in them. You could just see it. Some people glow, some people don't. Let's just put it that way. There's some people out here that are soulless. There's some people that are voids, and there's some people that are just operated by entities. And I wholeheartedly believe that. I feel like almost every spiritual belief system has that breakdown. However they break it down, however they put it, there's an evil group and there's a divine group. And black people are that divine group. It is what it is. To go to the point of saying black woman is God, I could understand the understanding, because we do have the divinity of creation, period. So I could see where like, oh, black women could be revered and respected as God because of the divinity that is in us. It is like a fragment of God. We are basically like little flakes of holy, beautiful, divine energy, however people want to put it, light energy, light being, stardust, however people describe black people as being special from others. There's a common understanding that niggas is special. Across cultures, across belief systems, across races, there's a common understanding that there's something special about niggas. Medically, they even say it. They have a whole eugenics society that does documentaries on this shit. This is like public shit. America got a good eugenics society that would break it down on how niggas is special. Like niggas got different DNA, different blood, different genes, different shit, however people want to put it. But that's not, all that's not like, so a lot of people think that's like conscious gibberish. Some of those things are really published in medical journals. Those are scientific facts.
Right.
That black women are different from other women. Now, that's where people start arguing the diaspora, who's black and who's not, who's whatever the fuck, who's considered even black at this point. But I feel like there was niggas. There was niggas that was special. Mm-hmm. And God made those special niggas. And those special niggas are here because those special niggas are supposed to be keepers of this place. And
right.
I feel like the books describe it as, the books I keep talking about, right? You asked me, that was my favorite books. But they describe it as basically like, the God basically gave this planet to the feminine spirit, the feminine aspect of himself. They called it the mother of all things in the book. Creation, basically the feminine version of creation. He was
referred to as Mother Nature? Yeah,
thank you. He gave her this planet. This planet was literally created for her out of the darkness. Mm-hmm. He literally created this planet that's why it's lush and Mother Nature. That's why it's feminine. It's circle, everything's lush and plush. That's how the book breaks it down. Like, the reason the planet itself is so feminine because it was literally made for the feminine energy of creation, for her to rest and relax.
Right.
After the war, quote unquote, in heaven, you know how they say the shit split up. The Bible say the third of angels came to fall into earth. The book describes it as the mother of creation came to earth and stayed. She never went back to heaven. And her creation, which was literally the black people, we were only her creation. Everything else that was created prior to the war in heavens was the creation of the mother, and the God together. We were created out of just the feminine aspect, and basically what they call the physical personification of God.
Right.
So basically mother and what they call in the book body, but which is just the physical personification of God, created what they call the gold spirits or the Rona Locus. You could Google this.
Right.
And that's black people.
So everything else is referred to as what? The spiritual realm, or
everything, all the other different angels, our people or whatever, our beings, our creations, they're all categorized by colors. They have a whole group of them that's came out as colors that people consider the indigo children. They even consider it in the book, the indigo children, the blue, the red, or whatever. They have the archangels. They have ancient spirits. They have cherubs. They have sephiroms. I think the book literally goes through like all of the different types of creation and celestial and spiritual beings. So any type of spiritual being you ever heard of, it talks about where it was basically conceived through God. Like what basically concept or idea brought that being into life. But the whole book is sex. The whole time when he's thinking of creation, he realized he's ejaculating, he's having sex, but with this feminine aspect of himself that's in his lap. And then he pulls it out of his lap and personifies her, and they start to beef because you're not supposed to separate the feminine from the masculine.
right.
It's supposed to work in one union, and he separated it from himself, trying to discover what it was. And when by the end of the books, he realized like, that's what's happening. And he's trying to get her back from earth. Like, because now he's dense. The feminine's stuck. She's a fallen angel because she's a fallen piece of herself. She's stuck here with all the other little fallen pieces of him and her. Because he realized like, all of this is really just me.
So what are your views on homosexuality?
It's anti-life. So I think it has a place, but it went like a wildfire. It's out of balance at this point. And I feel like anything out of balance is a threat. So I feel like, in a nutshell, homosexuality is a threat. And not because of the sexuality part, because of the fact that they almost try to consider it as a race. They have moved it from being about sex to it being about everything but. It used to just be two men having sex. And that's none of my goddamn business, and I don't care about that. But now it's every fucking where in your goddamn face. They are allowed to be aggressive, offensive, say whatever the fuck they want. But then if you say anything about anything homosexual, oh, somebody gonna cancel you. Like, how the fuck do we have to tiptoe around a group of people? I'm not tiptoeing around a group of fucking people because they sleep with a different people. Like, that does not even make sense. Why is even homosexuality a thing? It's two people who sleep with who they fucking choose. Right. That does not matter to me. That's why my view on homosexuality at this point is it's a threat because it's a topic. Why is it even a topic? Who the fuck you go in that room with and fuck? I did not need to know that.
Right.
I blame straight people also for not minding their goddamn business because y'all made it such a big thing about the two men sitting together in the restaurant that now they're standing outside with booty shorts on, acting crazy because y'all didn't make them feel oppressed.
And what about gender transformation?
I feel like once again, it's out of pocket. Like it's one thing to feel as if, you don't belong or stuff like that, or however people describe it. It's enough to feel as if, you feel more feminine or you feel a little more masculine than what society constructed you to think. But it's one thing to go and change yourself because you're trying to not fit the societal constructs. Because at that point, you just basically let society win. Society told you were a little different because as a man, you're a little more feminine. So now you're going to be a woman? So basically, society told you was a woman. So you went to go be a woman because you felt more feminine, or you felt like a woman. But what made you feel like a woman is like, was it like what made you feel like a woman? Is it because people told you the actions you was doing was woman? Or is it because people labeled your emotions as a gender? Feelings have no gender. That's the only thing that is trans fucking gender. Is emotions and energy and feelings. Feelings have no goddamn gender. So did somebody just tell you as a man that you cried all the time or you were so in touch or empathetic that, oh, that's feminine, you're a girl. And you heard that banter so much so you internalize that as maybe I am just a woman because you're trying to figure out why you different from other men. No, everybody's just fucking different.
Should sexuality have limits?
I feel like people need to have boundaries in place for themselves because everyone knows themselves. I feel like as a society, we should not have limits that oppress people to make them feel like they need to go out overly expressing themselves. But I feel like to each his own in a sense. Like everyone, we're not even gonna say everyone. Majority of people have a moral compass in place. Some people stretch a little further than others. Just because yours stretch over there and mine's don't, I ain't feel like we should just be fucking nailing people at the cross. But at the same time, there is a point where you could tell somebody's moral compass is not there, it's off balance. Some things are just not right. And I feel like that's where, as a society, we're losing the fact on.
Like what are things that are not right in your book?
Child molestation is not right. There's no way, and that's a sexuality. People would get so mad if they understood how many people are really attracted to children. And that's a real sexuality and a real sexual preference that those people are quote unquote fighting with, battling with, oppressing, all type of shit. Being a perv is a big thing going, dark web, dark sites, porn sites, X videos, dark Twitter. Being a perv is a big thing. That's not even a taboo thing in those lanes. And you know that. Mm-hmm. So, what, because we let people change their gender, we should let people touch kids? Because that's basically where we're going with it. Is literally to each his own, but to each his own is like, turn your head this way. Because it's like, oh, you can't offend people. So what's going to happen when we can't offend pedophiles?
And this might be obvious, but I want to get your opinion. Why is it something that is off the table for you, or something that you feel is too far?
Because mentally, children can't be spiritually present during a sexual exchange. They don't even understand what's going on unless someone trained them to. So they're not spiritually present in that exchange. They're physically present and by force. Children do not understand sex because spiritually they're not open there unless someone violates that opening. Virginity is not a physical thing, it's a spiritual thing. There's, I feel like, a natural way to lose your virginity. And then there's a unnatural way for that to happen to you. And a lot of people, that's where the trauma is, based on the way they spiritually was introduced to sex, is kind of how their lives are led through sex. I had a healthy losing my virginity, thankfully. I lost my virginity by choice to a guy that I wanted to lose it to. I stayed in a relationship with him for 11 years after that. Because of that healthy exchange, that's grounded, you feel me, in my spirit around sex, in my forming of sex, even on a mental level. So it's like, even if I had other poor sexual experiences, trauma, stuff like that, because that situation is grounded there, it's always a warm, fuzzy feeling in my soul. Where some people, sex doesn't have a warm, fuzzy feeling at its base, because their introduction to that sacred energy, their introduction to that virginity being taken, that purity being taken from them, it was bad. It had a negative motivation. That's why I said sex is a spiritual thing. Same thing as 30 years old. If I go out here and fuck the guy who want to fuck me because he just want to fuck me, or fuck the guy who want to fuck me and he got like a bad like vibe towards me or whatever, I'm gonna feel it. It's gonna interrupt my soul because the sex let that into my soul.
Do you have any advice for anyone that maybe have experienced trauma in that way?
I'm gonna tell people the only thing that's gonna really ever heal your heart, because when something like that happens to you, it breaks your heart. Mm-hmm. It breaks your heart in a way where you almost don't trust your own self. So that's the heartbreak. The person has to want to trust themselves again, and also separate themselves from the actual abuser. A lot of people start to identify with the abuser because they start to try to seek out like what the abuser was thinking, because they're too busy trying to put themselves in the space of the abuser. They're like, oh, well, I got raped and like he raped me and this and that, and like, oh, he was always aggressive and this and that. And they start thinking, so you feel me, like churning over the abuser. He's like, you're just energetically keeping yourself tied to that person. That's why I realized, like I said about the girl, like forgiveness is not like easy. It's not easy, and it's not an action. That shit is literally a spiritual thing. You have to really be ready to energetically release yourself from that moment in your life. Once I got ready to energetically release who I was as that person, it wasn't even no one who ever wronged me in that time of my life, in any part of my life I ever had to even forgive. I forgave myself and released who I was at that time. because I didn't want to energetically be tied to that part of my life no more. That part is gone. I'm living a new life. So why am I even feeling sadness for that? You feel me? That's all just energetically keeping me there, keeping me attached to those abusers, keeping me attached to people who wrong me, keeping me attached to people who are never going to apologize, keeping you attached when detachment is not about just not saying you love people. Detachment is literally making sure things do not penetrate your energy to the point where you continue to carry that energy with you. That's what detachment's all about. People think detachment means, oh, I don't show feelings towards others. I don't love people. I don't do romance. I don't this and that. No, detachment, that ass means that when I walk out of this building, if you piss me off and I took on that energy and anger, once I get in my fucking car, it's gone. I put on my music, I'm good. That's the attachment. I'm not attaching to that energy and letting that energy linger with me.